Have you ever wondered, can you make a quilt using fat quarters really quickly? Can you save some time? In today's video, I want to share with you making a fat quarter bundle into a quilt using simply just 5 cuts. That's right, you heard me correctly. Just 5 cuts. So follow me, join me today, and let me demonstrate to you how you can simply make a quilt with 5 cuts and make it look so intricate that you spent a lot of time cutting. Today, I'm going to save you some time so that you have enough time to spend on the things you like doing more. Quilting, what else would it be? Let's get started. Today we'll be using a bundle of fat quarters. I've had this for quite some time now, so I think it's about time I use it. Got some beautiful floral fabrics in here. It's a bundle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a bundle of 12 fat quarters. So let me show you the prints. When I initially bought this, I bought it on just looking at this particular one here. So let's see what else I have gotten in this bundle. Beautiful sets of florals. Absolutely gorgeous. That will be the wrong way up, Karen. No one can see it like that. They're very much complementary towards each other. The only thing is, there isn't really a name of the bundle itself or who made it. It's just a collection of florals. Usually you'll be able to identify it by the trimmings, really, isn't it? But I don't see anything. I'll keep going and see if there's anything turn up on the salvage, but nothing on any of the salvage. I love this. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at that depth of color. It looks really sort of reddish on the screen, but in reality it's a beautiful creamish brown. Absolutely gorgeous. What beautiful fabrics. This one also is a beautiful depth of color. Look at this. Oh my gosh. What a bundle. Now I'm getting excited because for this particular one, for this quilt, I am just going to cut the fat quarters down into some rectangles and squares. I haven't worked out what sizes they are. I am going to use all of the fabrics. This is rather interesting. This is what fat quarter bundles do. They add this odd fabric in. And this consists of, to me, looks like olives, which is rather odd because there is no flowers. It's all olives with green leaves. And I usually hate when they do that. Just add this odd fabric in the collection. It really annoys me. You know, it looks like they're always trying to make up the bundle. Coming back to these tones again, this one is also rather interesting. So as I was saying, in terms of the fabric and the block layout, rectangles and squares of different sizes. As I said, I haven't worked it all out. I usually come on the screen and literally start with you. So when you see me develop the quilt, it's literally in the real time that I am doing it. So probably I may have to change that in the future and just do it, make the quilt first and then, you know, work it the other way around. Again, a rather odd fabric. In reference to the colors, this one looks more pinkish, reddish. Yeah, it's like dark red, like blood red. Yeah, very odd. Again, I'm not too pleased with this one. I mean, it looks all right, don't get me wrong, but I think in reference to the balance, this one as well, it's literally a depth of florals, but of different real tones. But my favorites are the ones we looked at. This is my favorite. All right, so I want to get these all ironed and nice and flat, and then we will start cutting and see what I come up with. So I've stacked about 4 fat quarters here. You can cut as much as you like together, whatever makes you feel comfortable, and just keeping it lovely and smooth. I'm going to do some trimmings just to make sure the fat quarter is lovely and square, or in this case sort of rectangle, because you know they're never really straight. They always have some crooked edges, and so just to avoid any issues, I would suggest just straightening up the edges. All right, so this is not the actual cut, just straightening up the fat quarter so you can get even. So if you look at the end here, you can see that it's not entirely cut straight. There's some of them are literally very much off. So I'm just going to trim this up now here. I'm only going to do the top and the side because I am cutting from left to right, and then obviously we're going to have some trimmings left. So I'm aiming to cut this in about 5 cuts to make this quilt so as easy as possible. I reckon it's beginner friendly. I don't see it being anything, you know, intermediate or advanced. Obviously, I'm just cutting a stack of fat quarters into the sizes that I want, and making further subcuts with it. So that goes there. So that was my first cut. This is my second cut. Make sure you hold firmly and cut down. You need a very sharp blade for this one because obviously you're cutting through quite a number of layers. As I said, I have 4 here. And you can see why I didn't bother add any cut here, because this is now extra, just trimmings or scraps. All right, so that's that. So that's our third cut. So on this side now, line it up. Okay, so I'm going to remove these subcuts, and that one. I'm going to do another one here, but I'm not going to cut on this particular end. I'm going to stop. So I'm just going to pull that out because I don't want to cut it. So now these here are extras, all right? These cuts here are extras, and I'm stacking them separately because I intend to use them later. So those are just extras. And I'm going to add this here, add that there. I want to take this larger piece. So that was my 4th, and this is my final cut. So cutting this fat quarters up into 5 cuts in order to get what I want. Again, extra trimmings here that we're going to just stack to the side because we will use it at some point. And just going to finish this off here, and we're done. So that's all of our cuts now, all easy. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my last group of 4, and then we're going to lay the block out. All right, so what I would say is depending on your fat quarter, you might be able to get the same cuts as this one here. I can see is literally measuring the squares. I wouldn't put these here as extra, okay, or waste. I would use this because it literally measures the same size. So I'm going to stack that there. In all honesty, I don't know how many squares I have, but I'm going to lay the block out now and you will see where I'm going with this particular sort of 5-cut fat quarter idea. The what I would say is that one of the cuts I'm not going to count as an extra cut to make it stiff because it's the same size. So for me, it's literally 5 cuts you're making. All right, so let's lay it all out now. All right, table cleared away. So I have all of my cuts here and subcuts. Okay, so remember this is, I think it was 12 fat quarters I said. So I'm going to lay the block out in front of you so that you're clear. And you can lay this out for the orientation of the quilt itself, horizontal or vertical. All right. So you're going to start with a top block. Remember to mix your colors up and try not to use the same colors next to each other. So you're going to start with that one. I am going to go with another fabric choice. So I'm going to go there. And I'm going to take one of my smaller ones and add it in the corner there. Taking one of my larger squares, fit it there. And next I'm going to take another small square, fit it in the corner. It's quite easy. As I said, it's very beginner friendly. And lay another block out there. The only issue here is not to use the same one, okay? So I'm going to put it back in the shot so that you can see clearly. And definitely mix up around, what kind of word is that? Mix around the blocks, okay? So that it is pleasing to you. Do not do this. For example, don't do that. I don't think that looks very creative, all right? So what we want is this one on this side and that there. So I'm going to continue to lay it all out and I'll show you. I'm not going to add any sashings or anything like that. I'm just going to put all of the florals out together and let's see what it looks like to the eyes. All right, so here is the layout completed. Now, what you need to consider, let's start again. All right, so here's the layout completed. What you need to consider is if you've got similar fabrics close to each other. Okay, now I have been looking. The only thing that slightly troubles my eye is these two similar colors together, but I may leave it, to be honest. It is not that prominent that it really makes an impact, just like these here as well. So I may just leave it. So on the table here is what I've laid out. I've also got some more on the floor over here, which I didn't have any space for, obviously. So as of right now, I have 20 blocks in total. On the sewing table here, I have the balance. So I have 4 of the squares left over. And I have, these are the strips of scraps. Now, if you wanted to, you could, I'll give you an option. You could use these squares here, all right? But which will mean that your block will be smaller, slightly smaller than the ones we have here, which is all the correct size. Now, what you could do if you don't want to keep the scraps, you can add these at the end. So, for example, where I have these here at the end of my block, you can have those extra ones that is slightly a quarter an inch or 2 smaller at the end, so that when you square your block up, it doesn't make an impact to the overall size of the quilt that much. So you wouldn't lose anything from your edges, isn't it? Because if you look at it, when you're quilting, it'll just be a straight edge to cut to add the binding on, so you're not going to lose anything. Same applies for the end of this side here, so if you understand what I mean. So realistically, I could go ahead and make these up and just use everything up from the 12 fat quarter and make a 24 row quilt. All right, so I'll give you that option. I haven't decided if I want to, because these here are the correct sizes. These here are just a quarter inch smaller. Same with these here as well. So you can, I really use them. Okay. Alright, so I've got to say how beautiful this has literally turned out. This is your 5 cut fat quarter quilt. Look at that. 5 cuts, and this is the pattern you get. It looks absolutely amazing. Does it look confusing or does it look like a puzzle? Absolutely, because my whole intentions was for you to realize, or the viewer to know, or not to know in this case, where those particular blocks are and where the block is formed and how the block was formed. And I think I have literally gotten this. So share with me down below if you've liked this particular pattern. All right, it will be in the description box down below for you. Also, I have decided to call this pattern Florals in Bloom. And I think right now it is blooming because there's florals everywhere. absolutely everywhere. I've used also a floral print on the binding as well, and I think that has comes out to be absolutely gorgeous. For the quilting, I actually went ahead and did some feathers, but I was thinking to myself, Karen, honestly, you are wasting your time. Why bother you do feathers when you know it's not going to be seen? You've said it 100 times, you should just do meandering. But I started and there was no point in actually stopping and changing it. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead with this. Don't get me wrong, it looks really nice. You can see it in these particular darker fabrics here. It comes out really nicely. In the lighter ones, not so much. But only in the darker fabrics do you actually see it working really nicely there. Just like in this one here. But I'd already started and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead with it. Looks awesome though. On the back, I use this print here and I'm going to turn it around properly so you can see what it looks like. This quilt measures 60 inches squared and it's beautiful lap quilt, absolutely beautiful lap quilt. But let's turn it around and see what it looks like. Now the back has come out beautiful and I can see why I didn't bother stop, because you can see all of the quilting literally still there. I mean, look at on this particular one here, you can see it. So I guess that's one of the reasons why I didn't bother, you know, with doing the meandering, but because I felt, you know what, it's going to look beautiful on the other side. And I just thought it looks amazing. Loving the fabrics though. What do you guys think of this particular fabrics? It's rather interesting that they have, you know, used this particular print in here, this sort of leopard print. I've not seen that mix before, but this whole quilt, you know, is floral focus, is plant-based focus. Awesome, beautiful, love the back. When I first saw the back in the fabric store, I thought this is going to make a beautiful back for a quilt rather than, you know, a plain backing or something like that. I thought this was absolutely gorgeous. Overall, very beautiful quilt. I think it works together nicely with the front and the back. Can't really, you know, fault it. What do you guys think? I think my objective with using the 5 cuts to make this quilt was the fact that I was looking at the way of the person who's viewing it, not to know where the block is. And I think we have achieved that today. What do you guys think? 5 cuts, guys. So, and you get very, very minimal lost. And I'll show the amount of lost or waste you get from this. And you can still reuse it. I think I had about 4 squares left over. And if I wanted to, as I said, I could have used the smaller squares here and joined, but I didn't bother. I thought as it is was fine and I can use the scraps in another project because they're beautiful fabrics and they will stand out against white background. Looks awesome. So if this video has brought you any joy, you've learned something today, do consider subscribing. Look for the pattern in the description box down below, and I will see you in the near future. Please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. And if you haven't taken part of the block of the month, I will put again that details for you in the description box down below. And you can join in on the quilting fun. Bye for now. Happy quilting, and I'll definitely see you all in the next video. What a beautiful quilt. Ugh, so amazing. I like it when stuff turns out to be so beautiful. Fabrics are amazing. See you later, guys.